welcome to Drew in 32, a soulful miniseries, side quest, spin-off, escapade, or something like that. And as you may have guessed, my name is Drew. And also, just to clarify 1,000% here right away, I have no formal or official plans to run for office in any form or fashion anytime soon. So, yeah, just making that clear. I mean, if somebody knocked on my door tomorrow and said, hey, you could run everything, I'd definitely chew on it. But I don't foresee that happening. So, yeah, no official candidacy for president here. Just a cool way to frame some sharing on a variety of topics that really I've been avoiding for a period of time. Yeah. And so here I am in honor of the spicy, soulful era that has begun. About to get some stuff off my chest. And yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think this will be cathartic for me. Hopefully a little entertaining or insightful for folks that are listening. And yeah, and as usual, I have a game plan. I have a little bit of a script here that I'm going to work from as far as this episode specifically, but also for the entire mini-series. And yeah, but always leaving room to move with the mojo and the magic as it comes through. So we will be collectively surprised together at how this whole thing unfolds. But yeah, definitely some stops on the campaign trail here. Some agendas, or I don't even know what the right words are. Policies, platform points, something like that. I don't know. Definitely some stops that we're going to make and some things that I'm looking forward to sharing too. And yeah, in this first intro opening episode, I'm going to share a little bit with you about how I seize it in this moment. Really the U.S. essentially, but the sharing will go to lots of places. Yeah. And then also, I think a little bit of background on myself might be helpful, might be cool. And yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, and maybe a couple other things. We'll see how it flows. But yeah, speaking to the current state of disunion that yeah, the US, man, what a lovely little dumpster fire we are these days. In some ways, not in all ways, right? The beauty is always available. Sometimes though, we just gotta try a little harder to see it. And it feels like this is one of those moments. But yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about the U.S. in the present moment as I seize it, and I think maybe we'll do that after I give you a little bit about myself, so you know who I think I am and what I'm speaking from, and yeah, I think that might be helpful. Because yeah, when it comes to talking politics and worldly stuff like this, it's so easy to get reactive really quick, right? And so if you think that I belong to a certain party or I'm speaking from a certain perspective, yeah, it's so easy to just write people off these days. It feels like our ability collectively and individually, and of course not everyone, but more frequently these days, it seems we have a lack of ability to hear ideas that don't agree with what we think is true. And yeah, and then our responses or our reactions in those situations have become sillier or scarier, however you want to look at it. Yeah. So my hope here in giving you a little bit about myself is that I will disarm some of that noise, but I'm also just going to share honestly, and like I said, this is the spicy, soulful era, so other people's feelings are not as important anymore. I mean, I'm still probably going to move pretty compassionately and thoughtfully through this experience, especially given that I'm hanging out here in southern India and hitting the ashram every morning, and I'm just in a really beautiful, energetic field here. But yeah, but gone are the days of me doing gymnastics and contortioning myself in all these weird ways just to try to avoid making somebody have a feeling. Yeah, because that's torture. So, so there's going to be some honesty, hopefully compassionately, and occasionally directly, for sure. And folks might have feelings, and that's cool. It's part of being alive. So, all right, cool. Yeah, that all feels good. So, who do I think I am? Let's do that. Or where am I coming from? Where am I speaking from? So, yeah, born and raised New Jersey, right? Grew up in the U.S. in the 80s and 90s. I was born in 1981. So I think I'm like a hybrid generation. Maybe a elder millennial, or I don't know. I don't know that stuff, but I know that I grew up playing outside a lot, and in like second grade, computers came into the classroom. Yeah, and then computers were in my house around the same time, and we had the dial-up modem that made all the awful noises that sounded like a like a robot and a toaster were fighting or making love, one or the other. Yeah, so I grew up with dial-up, internet, AOL, and what was the chat? AOL chat or whatever. So that all came in during my 8, 9, 10 years old, I think. So like middle school. So I came into the world scene, the US scene, analog, but I've witnessed the whole technological evolution, revolution, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so that's some of my background. What else? Yeah, suburban New Jersey. I'm also a white dude who grew up in a neighborhood where there weren't a lot of other white kids. But that neighborhood was part of a larger town that was actually super affluent and mostly white, and also very Jewish and very Asian as well. So I grew up in a pretty interesting, diverse cultural container. And yeah, and I've also traveled the world, especially the last 5, 6 years, right? Living on a bunch of different continents, in Thailand for a year, Mexico, I'm in India now, like I said. So yeah, so grew up in the States, in Jersey, in the suburbs, diverse town, got exposed to a lot of cultures early, and also I love the education that comes with traveling and being immersed in different cultures. So, I'm doing that with my adult life as well. So yeah, on the surface, I check all the boxes to having won like the the genetic lottery or whatever to participate in the United States economic psychopathology. Like I should be part of some elite society of white guys that run the world and don't care about anyone else. Right? Like I was given that ticket genetically, but it's not who I am. It's not what I'm about, and it's not really the experiences I had growing up. Oh yeah, I'm a person in long-term recovery. Right, so I fell into addiction in my late teens and hung out there for like 5 or 6 years of hell, and then and then found recovery after I didn't die somehow miraculously. Yeah, and I've been doing the recovery, healing, spiritual awakening thing for almost 20 years now. So, yep. So I've been through some shit. I've fallen down. I've gotten back up many times. I have scars, visible and invisible. Yeah. And so I think all of that gives me a pretty cool perspective on what life is and how it happens, both in the United States as a country and also, all over the world in different cultures and different settings. What else? Yeah, I guess you could say I'm non-political or apolitical, or I don't know what the right word is there. I don't identify with a party. I don't really give a shit about politics. I've seen through it from a young age, right? And so participating in the political charade has never really been attractive for me. Yeah, I voted once when I was 18. Yeah, because I remember going as a kid with my folks when they would go vote. And they would go vote like every once in a while, like the same way they went to church. Like a couple times a year just so you could feel good about yourself. All right, but yeah, so my folks would vote every once in a while, and I remember going and not being allowed as a kid to go back behind the curtain or see what was going on. So when I was 18 and then allowed to do it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do this. And I think I got real stoned too before I went. So the one time I voted, I was super high, and and I just wanted to see what was behind the curtain. And so I pressed a couple buttons and pulled a couple levers or whatever, and yeah, and that was good enough for me. And I have not voted in anything besides maybe like online contests for friends that are trying to win money. Yeah, I haven't voted for anything political or participated in anything political since then. Definitely don't subscribe to a party, like I said. Yeah. So no political identity, no real political participation. Yeah, I've seen through the charade from a young age. So it seems silly to participate in. And also I was, partying and getting high and trying to deal with childhood stuff that was running wild in my life as an adult. Yeah, but all right. So political stuff, that's me. That's my background. Yeah, cool. So that's who I think I am. That's where I'm coming from. I don't really have an agenda with this mini-series. Like I'm not trying to advocate for this party or this candidate or that candidate. Yeah, I mean, to me, Trump is a knucklehead, and so are the Democrats, right? So, like, it's just a bunch of knuckleheads that are running the country into the ground, it appears. And, yeah. And so, this moment in time, and then this idea, as far as having a presidential campaign platform thing, felt like a cool way to share on some of what I've seen recently, and also some stuff that I've seen for a long time and just never really spoke to it much, and especially not on the podcast or in public settings, for good reason. Yeah, cool, let's do this. So while I have had my opinions and insights and observations regarding politics and the country and the world, and all the happenings, in this kind of setting, I have consciously refrained from speaking to any of that almost entirely. Yeah. Because I wanted to keep the main thing, right? So like my main jam is showing up for folks who want to get in touch with themselves, right? Tune in a little deeper and then live according to their own natural wisdom. And what a person's political affiliations are, or beliefs about the world, or beliefs about people, like that's mattered a whole lot less. Right? Like I don't really care too much about a person's background or what walk or like how they got to the moment where we connect. Right? Like I care less about that and more about being available for folks that have come to a moment in their life when they are ready to make changes and transform or step into a different chapter of their experience. So I have consciously refrained from sharing my opinions, perspectives, observations around a lot of this political stuff because I didn't want to give folks like obstacles to finding somebody that could help them. Right. So that's been the thought process. And it's felt pure and good. I've definitely prioritized being in service to folks over me sharing what I think I know for a long time. But more recently, it feels like not sharing about stuff, it's not as pure. It's a little more avoidant. And so as the seasons have changed here on me, and I've witnessed, just kind of like different motivation, different energy in my system, the idea for this miniseries came through. And also, spicy, soulful era. I've given myself permission to go wherever now. So here we are. And all right, I think that's that. So previously haven't shared on political, worldly stuff because I didn't want it to get in the way of me being able to support folks and guide folks in their deeper personal spiritual journeys. But it does feel like at this moment in time, not speaking to certain things in the worldly drama is more avoidant and fear-driven. And and it just feels like there's some truth that wants to be spoken, whether it's to power or just in general. So that's what we're going to do. All right, sweet. So that's who I think I am, some of my background, why we're doing this now. What else? I don't know. That feels good. Maybe that's enough. And we'll just jump into some of the specific content. Because I have an outline and I organized it according to like what what a president's like platform would be, the different agendas or policy points. So I'm going to share a little bit on the current state of affairs in the United States, as I sees it, whoever I am. And and then talking a little bit about money and capitalism, and also how money has rotted government to the core. What else? I think a little bit about education will be cool, because I do see education as a foundational component of creating something different, right? Like what we teach the younger generations within 2 generations potentially can become more of the policies and the laws and life. Just as they come to age and then start to be in service or start to help run things. So we'll talk a little bit about education and what else? We're going to have to touch into some of the past, because the United States is not built on a very solid, shiny moral foundation, as many of us know. And so I think facing our past and facing some of those demons, like it has to happen if the United States as an entity is going to move forward in a new or a different way. Like any person, like you got to kind of make peace with your past if you want to move forward different. Otherwise, if you just keep burying and denying your past, it's just going to keep flaring up and affecting your future. And so I definitely see a lot of that in what has been manifesting recently in the United States ecosystem or sphere, whatever we want to call it. And yeah, so we'll go into some of that. I forget what the other episodes were at the moment. Yeah. And then at the end, I'm going to wrap up with a plan. So I'm not just coming here to talk shit and bitch and moan. I got a plan too. So stay tuned until the end, and then I'll give you a solution. Again, according to me, whoever I think I am. But I am pretty good at seeing things from certain perspectives that leads to different outcomes. So yeah, so stay tuned. There'll be a plan at the end, and we'll talk about a bunch of stuff on the way there. Yeah, because, I mean, the United States to me right now is a lovely little dumpster fire in a lot of ways. Yeah, the image that comes to mind is this like train wreck of a of a person who seriously needs an intervention, right? Like somebody needs to sit United States down, right? Like take this hot mess, put it in a seat, and tell it some truth about itself, and and hopefully he and or she can hear it. Yeah. Yeah, Little Miss USA is a hot mess of a dumpster fire, and she needs to be sat down and given a firm talking to about more than a few things. And so hopefully that's a little bit of what happens here. Yeah. And again, without actually like wanting to run for office, there's no bullshit here, right? Like I have no need and or desire to say things in a way that will make me more palatable, or like I don't have to politic. I don't have to do all the bullshit that politicians do instead of actually serving people. Yeah, I can just spit it like I see it, and yeah. And I'm also excited for the catharsis that I think this will be, because I'm here in India doing a lot of meditation, turning in a lot, and yeah, it feels like there are things on my chest and things in my field that I want to get rid of. I want to share, I want to release, and let them go. And so I think that this mini-series will be a cool way to do that. Yeah. And so if all of that sounds cool, wonderful, interesting, then you're in the right place. And I would invite you to tune in for the coming episodes. But if you prefer to just believe what you like to believe about the world, and you don't want nobody poking at anything that doesn't align with your firm death grip on a certain version of reality, well, then you probably shouldn't listen. But anywho, yeah, cool. All right, I like that. That's good mojo to kick this thing off. And yeah, until next episode, be cool, be kind, and yeah, and that's it. All right, talk to you again soon.